Hello and welcome to Produced By. Just quickly before we begin, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting it by joining our Patreon. You can choose from a list of memberships and will receive some exciting rewards. Thank you, and back to the episode. Hello, Michael. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Thomas.
So, Michael, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Michael Williams. I am a performer. I am a filmmaker, just an all-round creative guy, really. Just try and put my hand in as much things as possible.
Mm-hmm. So, can we start with your background? Where are you from?
Where am I from? So I am, from the UK, London, born and raised, East London. But my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago and Ghana, so half Afro-Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, yeah. So, when did your interest in film or creativity start? Was it from young age?
Yeah, so like basically it started when I was in school. I actually was in secondary school and I didn't do anything creative wise. I was super like was interested in things like ICT, and my GCSEs were in ICT art and geography, which was nothing to do with film or anything or creative. It
So,
was actually
were
my
you
brother.
actually
Hmm?
interested in geography?
Here's the thing. So this is, I tell everyone this. It's like so weird, but I actually was like, when I was younger, I was like, I want to be a chef. I was like, I was like, I want to get into like that kind of stuff. Like I watched like a lot of cooking shows growing up, and like seeing parents cook and stuff. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be not even a chef, a baker. I was like, I want to specifically make cakes,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
at a young age, and like I wanted to be in that kind of field, making cakes, because I loved cakes. I do love cakes up to this day. Um, and I essentially was like, yeah, let's just do that. So I started off doing that. So I picked, but what I didn't pick anything to do with, like, I didn't do any cooking classes or anything. So I was like, no. But my thought was, if I do geography, I can learn foods of the world. If I did art, I can learn how to design the cake. And if I do ICT, I can promote the cake. But I didn't do a cooking course. What the fuck? So I came out of came out of school like really like lost. It was actually my twin Martin that kind of got me into like media, because he did a film uh like GCSE,
Yeah.
and I was like, and then we had friends who were doing it as well, and they asked me one day, do you want to do this like skit one day? And it was funny at the time. I was a big fan of Doctor Who, and it was called like Doctor What or something. So I was like, yeah, let me just get myself involved and put myself in. And I did a little bit of acting in it, and it was but bearing in mind, this was like when I was like 13, 14. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
no, even younger than that. I was younger. I was in like year 11. And I was like, yeah, let me just jump into this. And I did a bit of I did camera work with it. So like we filmed it and everything. I think it was for like their course or whatever. So we was just like, yeah. And I was like, actually, I like doing this. I like just having fun on camera and
Mm.
just not, kind of being creative in this way and adapting something into it. So yeah, that's kind of like where it came from. So then following after that, I did a course at college, creative TV and film production, and
Mm.
yeah, had made a couple of stuff there as well, and then it kind of just transpired into me going to uni and doing a course there.
So if that didn't happen, you could have been a baker or a chef or something by now.
Yeah, I mean, if that didn't happen, I was definitely going to go down the route of like taking up cooking classes, or maybe even doing like a cooking course or something at like a college
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And I could have been the baker. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from doing that. To be fair, you can do anything you want.
Yeah. So did you then, or when did you decide if you want to focus on being in front of camera or behind the camera?
Right, yeah. So when was I like? When did I decide to change that?
Or
So
what
I
what
came
made you
to.
to decide?
Yeah, so I think just a couple of years of just being behind the camera and seeing like what are the like seeing just seeing how people performed in front of it and hearing interesting stories. I think I decided I was like, you know what, I would like to explore this. I think I was on a set one day and I was like, you know what, I would actually prefer to be in front of the camera. I would actually like to,
Hmm.
you know, perform and try to take my like creativeness and kind of move it into something else as well. So
Hmm.
I would like to try because at that point I'd been behind the camera since 2014. So it was like, I know I kind of made that decision in like 2022. I was like, do you know what? I want this year to kind of be where I like put myself forward for more roles that are like involved in acting and like being in front of camera or even just like facilitating that. And I think, yeah, that was like sort of that was my prerogative. I was like, yeah, let's do that. So yeah, essentially I was like, yeah, let's just try to put myself forward for things, apply for different things, even if it's free, and then yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess the background from studying the work behind the camera helps once you transition to focus.
Absolutely, yeah.
And did you also like continue, or did you do any studies, to become an actor, or didn't?
No, so I haven't done any studies or anything. I've just decided one day I was like, you know what, I want to just change the narrative. I was like, I of the only education I have is in film, so everything I've done is film related. But I think that has helped me to understand the process, understand how it all works, pre-production, post-production, production, understanding that and giving me a sense of an idea of the industry I'd like to get into. And I think it's quite useful information.
And I know you said to, you decided at 22, but when you are studying BA film, did you already know that you didn't want to really do this, or are you still excited about it?
Well, it's not about don't want to do it. I still think I would like to do things within it. Like I still would like to do film. I just think my priority now is to try and to for the next couple of years to really build myself as an actor and a
Hmm.
performer. So it's not saying I'm just I say I'm putting it on a bit of a back burner for now. Like any projects or anything, I would like to focus my time more on trying to find roles that are in front of the camera as opposed to behind the camera. But I'm not
Yeah.
saying I wouldn't do behind the camera work. I just say I would like to do more things in front of the camera. But
Hmm.
that decision, yeah, came from 2022. I think couple of gigs that I did in 2021 was like, yeah, I think I would like to be in front of the camera now.
Yeah. And what role were you focusing on while studying? Uh, what did you want to be, director, producer, or what did you want to be?
Oh, I was focused on producing.
Oh, producing. So,
Mm.
do you want to tell us about some projects? Were there some interesting projects you took part in?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I got so the project I produced it was called Not Wanted, and it was my final piece. It was my final year project, and yeah, it did really well. It was, we managed to film it in 4 days, and it was difficult. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. It was like the toughest thing I could do
Hmm.
because, and bearing in mind, I had taken a gap year before that, so I joined a new class with new people, didn't know
Oh, yeah.
anyone. Well, I knew people, but you know how it goes. You kind of use the summer to like link your like groups to get your groups ready so that when you start the course you already know who your team is and you already kind of I didn't do that. I went in, didn't really know anyone. Was
Hmm.
kind of like the first day was like my day to like really like sort of connect and really find out who's gonna be my director. But I was
Yeah,
like,
like.
I really want to take this producing. And
Hmm.
it's, doing the same course, you can understand it's very, it can be very difficult if you don't find the right team and the right group and
Yeah, especially in the
yeah,
final year.
especially in the final year as well. So I was like, but it actually worked out in the end because and I'm very, and that's the one biggest thing. I'm so happy I made that decision to just join and just throw myself head first and do that, because if I stayed with that other year, I would have, no, it would have been drama, but that's a
How,
different kind of conversation.
how come, or I was gonna ask you if you don't mind telling us why did you take a gap year?
Yeah, do you know what? Um I basically, the reason why I took a gap year was because I felt like at that point in time I was not, like, I didn't feel mentally ready to take myself back into that year.
Mhm.
Um and I just felt like, you know, the kind of, there was some circumstances that happened, but not even just that. Like, I just felt like I needed a break. I needed to take some time for myself to really reflect.
Mhm.
Although the jobs I did afterwards weren't exactly the best, but I
Mhm.
think it was well needed. I think I just wanted to take a year. I was really good. Actually, at that point, I was really ready to leave. I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do this degree anymore now. I think I
Yeah.
might just leave. But I figured I'd started it already. But if I leave now, and I might not, get, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know where I'm
Yeah.
going to be. It's not like I left and I had a job. Do you know what I mean? I would have been unemployed. I would have had no, like, no money to, like, and student finance would have, like I said, you know what, no, sorry, like, it would have been a bit of a problem. So I thought, let me just take this time to really think about, do I want to continue this course? Do I want to continue it with these people? And
Mhm.
yeah, and so I took the time. I think it was more of like a mental health check for myself, and really just being like, this is not that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it with these people. I don't want to do it in this environment. It wasn't say like I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel seen in any
Mhm.
sort of way. And yeah, obviously that was years ago, and I'm over all those things now. Like, it's
Yeah, of
just,
course.
but like looking, it was a bit of a difficult time for me as well, especially like other things happening outside of that as well. I think it was just like I just needed to take some time for me and really just focus on what I want to do.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but I took the time. I worked in a coffee shop for about 8 months after that, um, and then I worked in a retail store, and then I was like, I'm going to go back to uni, and I'm going to focus. And I think it helped me a lot with focusing as well, because also getting to know new people, and like
Mhm.
getting to know new course mates, and yeah, developing the film. And I'm, yeah, happy it did, because we made a really good film
Mhm.
with good actors, with some really good actors. And I think that's what motivated me to, like, wanting to be an actor, seeing them perform to the
Yeah.
extent that they perform. It was like, wow, I can really, and like seeing the interaction between the director and the actors and the crew, and just seeing that, like, that's something that I actually really interested me and motivated me to want to do the same. That, like, this is not impossible. Like,
Mhm.
and to see the quality of it, and to see their performances, and such striking performances from all of the cast and the team, and the team. It was just like, this is something I'd love to do, and I think I have a passion for this.
Mhm. So, from your experience, is there something you can advise people who may be in a similar situation, like when they are at university and struggling to continue, or they are not, they are feeling down and not sure whether to continue or drop out?
I say, each the thing is every situation is very individualistic and personal to them. My situation was, there was just a, wasn't it wasn't. I mean, I should say, like, for me, I left because I didn't feel that I was making the content that I was wanting to make, and the films that I wanted to make with the people that I wanted to make it with. I didn't feel like I was in a good batch.
Mhm.
Gonna be so honest, I wasn't. like, and I felt that no, I'm gonna be so honest. I don't think I was. I think that people were very, they had different, you know,
Mhm.
mindsets. It was very like, here, like, people. These were the group of people, and then these were this group of people, and it was like, if you were in between, it was very hard, like, so hard to find a group, like, to do group projects in that year, because it was people would, so like, they would find a team and then stick with that team, and then it was like there was never any openness. And if you'd made like one mistake, it would be like like it was like that was it. That's all they thought of you, and it was like you never could leave. There was no redemption on that course. It
Yeah,
was like make one mistake and then that's it. And I don't
and
think
you're
I don't know
done.
if a lot of people.
Mm.
I think it's a problem because it actually it's kind of reflective of what life is like now. Because obviously, if you go into the industry and you make one mistake, or you know what I mean, it does depend on the severity of the mistake though, because if it is like you're rude to cast, you're rude to crew, like you know what I mean, that's gonna blacklist you really quickly from and like really limit you in terms of what jobs you get, because people do talk in this industry.
Mhm.
But like I feel like for me, on some of the looking back now, some of the things that people did, like it wasn't enough to say that that person couldn't have a group and potentially nearly fail their course. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like let people learn. Okay, maybe they come a little bit late. Do you know what I mean? So you find different ways to incorporate them, but say
Mhm.
make them come 2 hours earlier to a set and than everyone else, and lie to them so that because if you know they're going to be 2 hours late, tell them that the call time is 2 hours earlier, and then so they're like, wait, hold on, what? Like, yeah, we just started. Yeah, that happened. I did that with someone because I was
Yeah.
like, you're not coming late to the set, no way. So I'm going to tell you the call time's 2 hours earlier. I got them to come at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
When the call time was 10 o'clock, I was like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you got here. So
Mm.
like, but doing things like that ends up making
Yeah,
them
of course,
realize
of course.
that's because I was very nice, but I was also very tolerant. Like, make that mistake once, it's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to have you. I'll find like I can easily find someone else to do this. It's not you
Mhm.
need do you know what I mean? But I wasn't like but I felt like some people were a little bit more
Yeah.
harsher than that. If they were late once, they were like off the shoot, and it was like Jesus Christ, like yeah, definitely a lot of like, but essentially, what advice would I give to people who maybe are at like a crossroads or like done their first year and they're like, "Do you know what, I'm not really feeling it, or oh, I want to take a gap year." Like, I think go with your gut. If you feel like you're in a position that you need to like rethink where you're at and check, like honestly checking in with yourself and yourself only, and being like, this is how I feel, this is what is gonna make me feel happy if I take this gap year. Even consult with yourself and like have that conversation with yourself, because really and truly not even your parents or
Mhm.
like other people are going to really be able to tell you what to do with your life at the end of the day, because it is your life. I had to have that hard conversation with myself and say like, you know what, I'm not happy with the situation I'm in right now. I'm not happy with the people I'm with. I'm not happy with the space. I'm not happy with the you know for the around with the environment that I'm in. So I need to kind of think, is this serving me? Is this helping me in any sort of way? No. Okay, then this is the steps I need to do. And I kind of made that decision in 4 days. But, some people take a summer or a year to think about that. And they're like, yeah, I've already put it in. But I made those decisions in 4 days. So don't do that. Take some time, really reflect, write it down, write down the pros, write down the cons, you know, and don't be afraid to like talk to people though, as much as like obviously having conversation with yourself, but like talking to people, maybe having counseling, therapy, and like having
Yeah.
those kind of conversations to yourself. I think mental health for me, as someone who's neurodivergent and is autistic, I found it very like very difficult to kind of make those decisions. So having that kind of intervention and really speaking to people externally actually did help to make that decision. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's important to discuss this stuff because even from what I remember, it was sometimes a bit stressful. It's last year of university or even second year. Um, Big ambitions of everyone. You've got a lot of stuff going on, such as work, university projects, and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to discuss this, and hopefully it will help some people who may find themselves in such situations.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think talking to like if it's related to mental health, 100% talk to if you can seek therapy or seek any sort of like counseling, like no questions, like seek therapy,
Mhm.
like it is important. as well. And if you're someone who is, again, I mentioned I'm on the spectrum. It's a lot. You're a lot more prone to getting into that kind of feeling, especially because you're in a new environment. You're in you've just come. Some people have never met people from who look maybe like me or like you, come from different backgrounds, and
Yeah.
and they've come into this one, they get stimulated, they get overwhelmed, they're like, oh, and some people come into that course like have done plethora of projects, worked on this many films, had been directors. Some people get jobs like that straight away, some of them are working, and all of that kind of piles on, and it's okay to feel like that. Like, the comparison can be a big thing in this industry when people show off their accolades, and it's like, naturally you will feel like, oh, I'm not where they are. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think it's natural. So talking about it in a space where it's constructed to support you, like a therapy session, like a counseling session, that
Yeah.
can really help to push yourself forward. And I will always push for that.
Yeah, I agree. So then how did you start planning your way into the industry once you graduated?
Yeah, so for me, I graduated in 2019. I decided I didn't go into it straight away though. I was like, you know what, I need to go on a holiday. Like, I've just done 3 years of training course. Like, I just made this film. I decided I wanted to go to Malta. Put
Oh,
on like a
okay. Why did you
lads
decide
up.
for Malta?
Do you know what? We had the people at the time. I was with people. We found a good deal. It was a nice little it was a flat, but like, it was a good flat, and we just just decided, let's go Malta. Book
Mm.
something. I wanted. It's good to, like, we booked it with the idea that we had something to look forward to afterwards, and it was a good. It was all right trip.
Yeah, I've never been there, so
It
I
was.
don't know.
I think it's good. I actually went there again in
Mm.
2022 by myself. I just was like, because I loved it so much. But every time I've been there, there's always been an altercation. Not like with people there. So I don't know. I mean, Maltese people, y'all like to fight. Like, but I have some funny stories. No, but it is funny. It's a really beautiful island, really beautiful scenic areas, and like,
Do you want to
just.
share any stories that can be public
Oh,
or not?
you wanna know the tea? You wanna know the tea about Malta? Yeah.
Something funny.
Nah. There's this funny, like, okay, so like a funny story between my brother, my brother, when we went out. There's like this strip called St. Julian's, and one day we were coming back, like, I don't know, we were going to try and find bars, whatever, and they have this club that basically, like, my brother like, was walking, but unbeknownst, they have this club and there's like girls standing outside. If anyone knows me and Martin, we don't swing that way, we swing the other way. So with these girls have popped out, just grabbed Martin and brung him into the club. And like, I know Martin. I was like, where's Martin? Like, where is he? He's not here. And these girls have just gone and dragged him into the club. So they're obviously trying to like give him a show, whatever, and like, he's like, no, I don't want that. So like, obviously a friend of ours gone in to grab him, and they like tried to take his money. They like tried to rob him. Like, they were
Okay.
like, give us some money, we gave you a show and everything. It was like, he was in there for like a second. Like, what do you mean? So
Hmm.
it was just so funny that like my brother was like, got like snatched into like a strip club, like, just to like get like, and I think their friend ended up actually paying, which was hilarious. But I was just like, no, like, he was trying to get his money back, but it was just like, it was like 10 euros. Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
just funny. But there was other things as well,
So it's a
that
lesson for
happened.
listeners to be careful if they go to Malta.
No, you know what? Go Malta. I'm not gonna say, like, at the end of the day, like, just, it's like, when you go to another country, like, always be careful with your, like,
Yeah,
belongings,
yeah.
surroundings. If you're not, like, what you, because they're saying, well, I don't think to that level it will happen here, but be careful, because you could
Mm.
just get matched up into a club sometime that you didn't want to get into and have your money taken out. So, but yeah, just be careful, enjoy yourself. I mean, I definitely had some, obviously I've had other holidays as well, but that was the main. I think I went to Portugal but I was at uni, so with a couple of people, that was a funny trip, but that also ended in tears. I contribution maybe it's best to travel solo dolo, or maybe with the twin, not. Well, I mean, I would love to go on a trip with a friend of ours who's a lovely girl. Like, I know her from work; she's amazing. But yeah, I mean, just never. It's always everyone always likes to post and be like, "Oh yeah, I had the amazing trip." They never tell you what happens behind the pictures. Like, I guarantee every single last holiday, something went down, someone fell out, this and that, third. Like, and that's
Yeah.
the truth to you. I'm real enough to say things happened. Like, I've definitely had my fallings outs on holiday. But
Yeah, so
it's
just coming back to it, then when you came back from Malta, what were your plans, or how did you want to start?
yeah. Oh Jesus, I need to look at my CV.
Or if you don't
I think
remember, just say,
no. I remember now. So I no, I didn't go. Yeah, I think so. Malta. I then went to Primark. So like, I worked in retail again because I
oh,
that
to look. Okay,
because
okay.
so I worked in retail while I was in uni. It was the same. It was called Savers, but I don't know if I can mention that. But yeah, it was Savers like Superdrug, and I quit that to go back to uni. And then so I was doing Savers and Superdrug whilst I was at uni. I was in in the beginning of the first year, like in December time. But then I quit because I realized I could not produce a film and work at the same time
Mm-hmm.
because the paperwork was quite a bit and having to go to work the next day. So I was like in the midst of that. So in like from like January time, and we filmed in like April, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to film. So I'm not going to be able to work and film at the same time. So I did that. Pardon me. So I graduated. I went to Malta, and then I joined Primark. I joined Primark, and I stayed there for around a year and a half. And but I was after that, I did a couple of little jobs. I actually did not start my I didn't actually. I only really did a couple of jobs in film until like from like 2020 after COVID.
Yeah.
So I graduated. So 2019 happened, and then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really like start straight away because COVID had stopped that for me.
Yeah,
Really and
yeah.
truly,
It was
I
kind
had
of
1 year,
impossible at that time.
but they always say like I feel like if you didn't really like I found it very difficult to find a job in film. Like any
Mm-hmm.
runner roles or anything, I found it very difficult. I don't know amongst other people. I just found it very difficult to find anything. And I was like, so I just did a lot of other jobs on the side. And that's typical for someone who's a creative. You will just do other things. Like you have to, like, you got to pay the rent. Like you got to
Mm-hmm.
pay bills. But so I worked
Unfortunately,
at
it
Paramount.
doesn't work that way. That you graduate and film industry is waiting for you.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. You do get some people that are very fortunate, and testament to them, they do find the jobs, and props to them. But I wasn't that person. I found it very hard to look like I was looking for roles. I felt like a lot of them tell you to go on Facebook and look at this, and yeah, they are good resources, but a lot of them ask for driver's license. A lot of them ask for like runner experience, and it's like I just studied a degree to try and find a job in a film in a field
Yeah,
that I want to do, and now I can't even find it because you're asking for all this experience, but I don't have the experience on set.
it
So it's
it's
like,
the
you know,
endless loop when you need experience to start,
exactly
but how are you going to get it?
that experience. So it's like, I mean, you do like traineeships and stuff, but even then, it was like even them, some of them could reject you, and it was a waiting game. So a long waiting game, and you're like, but I need money, my priority was to work, and then alongside me working, look for those roles, look for those different things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I so come 2021, when we've just come out of COVID ish, I actually found a job through Creative Access,
Mm-hmm.
and they help to work people from like BIPOC like communities, like Black, Asian, like minority groups to find jobs in creative fields,
Mm-hmm.
and that landed me my first job in with Label One, Channel 4. So it was a show commissioned by Channel 4. It was called 5 Days a Week. It's on Channel 4. You can check it out. And
Yeah.
I was a runner for them, and Oh no, sorry, I'm completely forgetting another job I had before that. I work. Sorry, this is backwards. So I actually got a job with Blink Industries, as a studio assistant for their show. Oh my god, what's it called? I can't think.
Was there another job before?
Yeah, they did. No. No. I just can't remember the show. Oh my god, I actually can't remember the show. It's like the puppet. It's a puppet show. I don't know if you've ever watched.
No, I probably don't know it if it's a British show.
Let me just gonna
Sesame,
quickly just.
Sesame Street. No, I don't
No, not Sesame Street. Jesus Christ.
know.
Oh, what's it called? I'm literally on Google now. I can't even remember. This is so bad.
Is
Don't
it
hug me. I'm
something?
scared. That's it.
What
No,
is
it's
it?
called Don't. It was Don't Hug Me. I'm Scared. Yeah.
No idea.
So that was my first. At the time, I couldn't say anything about it then, but it was a really good show, really good people. But I only did 1 day a week because I was working in a bar at the same time as well. So I did like
So
1 day a
did
week.
it help you get any connections or perhaps opportunities for future?
Well, yeah. So it actually opened the door for me to do another job. So that's. I feel like once you were in, you were in. Do you know what I mean? Because then I got a job with because then it led me to the next job, which was the Channel 4 Label
Mhm.
1 show. And it was, yeah, it really did help me to build myself and put myself forward for roles for roles. So yeah, I did that, and they were really good. Although I did struggle a little bit because I'd never like
Yeah, done it
properly
before.
done one in a situation like that. But I got to meet some people and really work with some people, so it was really good. And seeing that it wasn't necessarily in film, but one was an animation, the other one was reality TV. So it's weird. Most of my jobs weren't really reality TV, and then and I also got another job with a production company, post production house.
If you want to boost your online presence, check out our digital marketing agency called Trailblazed. You can also enroll in our Skillshare course called The 10 Tips on How to Succeed in Your Creative Career, which was inspired by the podcast. Lastly, make sure to subscribe to our weekly newsletter called Creative Spotlight to stay up to date with the show and more. Links are in the show notes. Thanks.
Can you maybe compare it? What is it like to work on a professional set to compare it to working at university set? In what way is it maybe different and similar?
Oh, massively like different to working with like maybe your peers as opposed to working with people you don't necessarily know. Everyone's a little bit, I think when you're working with your friends, it's a little bit more. You still try to hold professionalism, but obviously you know them and you can kind of work things out, and there's a little bit more relaxed. But when you're working with people that no, after in the beginning at least with most of these jobs, it was very like in the beginning it's very like you want to
Professional.
impress. You be professional, but at the near the end of it, you're like actually like get along with these people, and they're actually really nice, and
Mhm.
you kind of build relationships with them. Although I don't speak to most of them now, no, they're like I still support them. Got them on Instagrams, and do if they ever post stuff, I'm always supportive. Um, yeah, but I think after I did the post production job, as it was a operations assistant, I was like, you know what, I don't necessarily think I want to continue
Mhm. And
this.
sorry,
I was
before we move on, can you say what's the difference working as a runner on a set to working as a runner in post production job? If you were a runner there as well.
yeah, no, absolutely. So working as a runner on a set, I mean, definitely. So when I was working as a runner, so let's say, it's crazy because I think I'll do it in three different steps. I was a studio runner, and then there was a runner on, and when I was a runner on the set for Label 1, I was a runner actually. So I actually did, because I was London based. They actually had me come into the offices and do like a little bit of admin, help them out with admin,
Mhm.
like doing like cast like profiles and stuff, and just checking their social medias out and stuff. So not only I did that. So when I was working in the studio, you're working in the studio, so a lot of it teas and coffees, literally. Would you like a tea, coffee? Anyone need help? Just throwing myself anywhere that people might need help, cleaning up a little bit, just making sure that you're available to help wherever you can. And a lot of it, there was a lot of downtime because obviously a lot of people were like, no, we're good, we're all right, we're fine. Just throwing yourself out. That's the whole general role of like, that's what keeps it all similar. That, being readily available no matter where. If somebody needed a table moved, you're like, yep, coming, this and that fair, just being, you've got to be a lot of a yes man in that in these kind of jobs, don't, if you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do that, oh, that's too, it's very quickly that people are going to like see, oh, he's a bit of a moaner or whatever. So yeah, but the difference between, let's say, the studio and the production, I don't think there was much different actually. I mean, it was just a lot of, communicating. As I think the biggest difference between those two jobs and the post one is that you are in-house. I was an in-house with a production company, and they, you just, you have radios. Oh no, I think we had a phone. No, we have phones. You work with clients as opposed to, so people would, say would buzz up, and the reception would say, can you bring up a tea to this place and bring it to this client? And there was almost like a professionalism that you had to have, but at the same time, there was a lot more of a professionalism, like a lot more of holding yourself up higher than if you were on set, because it's quite the professionalism is all throughout, but I felt like with the post-production houses it was a lot more, it was a lot more prominent, and you had to be a lot more on your toes. It was definitely a lot more of a, your services being required. There's not a lot much downtime, and a lot of cleaning as well, like, because you're cleaning up after the suites, you're making sure you're removing the cups when they're done, and
I understand. It was just to get an idea, but we can discuss like, when did you then decide you do want to do that, and what were you up to?
Oh yeah, so basically I think after the post-production job I was like, because I was actually working another job as well. I was actually working in Nando's at the same time, and I decided that, like, maybe this isn't the right job for me. It was just not the best. Not the best. Yeah, that particular job was not the best. I can't lie, it wasn't my favorite job. And I was like, yeah, just, you know what, I'm just gonna take a little break. I went to, I think my birthday had come up, so it was like I went to a birthday, and I think that New Year had started, and I was like, do you know what? I am not gonna do. I kind of want to swift away from film now. I kind of want to take myself, and I think it hit me when I was like, you know what? I want to take my performing more seriously. So although I had a bit of an issue with a job, like in terms of taxes and stuff, basically, like this is okay. So here's what kind of kickstarted it. I basically was working for Nando's, and they bloody messed up because me and my twin brother were both working in the same place. They put one national insurance code, like the national insurance. They put the same one for both of our employments. So when we did our taxes, when I left, I basically, like, because what I also depended on was universal credit. I wasn't receiving universal credit, but I would always, like, I signed up to, like, I went to their, like, to the one there. I went there one day to be like, oh yeah, are you guys looking? Because that's also where you can look for jobs in film as well. I mean, they don't really look much, but I thought, why not? Nothing's gonna hurt if they did. And I went there, and I was like, and I left a job. I left because I was like, I'm going to Ireland for my birthday, and I was like, do you know what? I think I'm just gonna leave, because, like, I'm gonna leave and then I'll just find a job and I'll come back. I didn't actually. So what they did is so when I left and I was gonna get, like, universal credit, whatever, I didn't, because they said that, like, you're still working. Turns out what they meant was that they thought I was still working because my brother was using my national insurance. And I was like, are you serious? Obviously my brother has his own national ID, like, insurance code, like, so he's not going to use mine in order to, like, what would he need to use mine for? There was no need to. So they made, and then when I tried to confront the company, they were like, oh, like, getting all, like, weird. And I was like, no, you've made the mistake. I'm not gonna, like, we know our national insurance code. So whoever signed us up did whatever, made a mistake, massive mistake, and I ended up getting reimbursed for that. But I was trying to find a job, but I actually didn't end up. So I actually went to the University of Credit one day and I had a meeting, and they posted about this, and they told me about this job. I actually didn't even know. So I was actually applying for like intern roles and like, you know, for like graphics, like, you know, places, and like just any job that would get me in a running job. And one day I go in and they actually said, and they said, the guy said to me, like, what do you want to do? What's your thing? And I said like, oh, like, you know what, I started to take it a bit more serious. I was like, you know, I actually do want to be a performer. I actually want to like be in front of the camera. And it's just like, oh yeah, you know, Universal Credit is not, you know, they don't really post jobs like that. But this guy, he just had like this leaflet. He said like, are you going to be free tomorrow? And he went, yes. He said, actually, I think I've got a job for you. It was for this role for a theatre maker. And I was like, ooh. And it's like, yeah, you basically like get to perform, and like you can make, you devise theatre for 6 months. And like, it was so, I was like, hold up, what? Like, because Universal Creditors never puts jobs out for acting or anything. So I was like, and it's like, you don't have to like audition for it. It's just like they're gonna have an interview tomorrow. Can you come to the interview tomorrow? I'm gonna put your name forward. I came to that interview, and it was as if it was exactly what I wanted. It was like, you know, I was already in for another interview for this like graphics like intern role. I can't even remember, it was so long ago. But I came in, and turns out like the person interviewing me actually had met my brother Martin, and like thought it was me. Like, and she was like, yes, I love your energy, like you're perfect for this role, like I really like. And it was such an amazing, honestly, it was like, looking back now, like the interview, I was like, more interviews like that. Her name's Clarice, big up Clary. Like, she literally like opened the door to me, and like, yeah. But the only problem is that because I was 24, and the job was primarily for people from 20, it was a Kickstarter role. It was from 25. Oh, actually, that's how I found sidetrack. I found the post production role for a Kickstarter. They don't do Kickstarters anymore, unfortunately, which would have been really helpful for people who are looking for job roles in the film industry. A lot of them were Kickstarters. So, but I don't know if they're going to bring it back. But if people want to look for jobs, that you can do it through Kickstarter if they bring it back. But that's how I found this role, actually, because the last one was a Kickstarter, but it was not good. It was really bad. You're usually only allowed to do one Kickstarter. I actually ended up doing 2. So like, because the other one was so bad, it was really bad. So yeah, I'm not even going to mention them because it's just not worth it. But it was just, yeah, so I actually ended up getting this for a Kickstarter. But there was a whole drama because basically I turned 25, and they were trying to find it hard, but you had already accepted me when I was 24, so they knew that I was going to turn 25, and then they were like, so they accepted me for the job, everything, but then they said, unfortunately, we can't take you because of your age, this and that, third. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I've literally left my job for this. Like, so I left my job knowing that I was going to start another job. But now, and so they had to fix it. They had to get me on because I was like, this is not fair. You've made someone now unemployed. So you've done the opposite of what you're meant to be doing, which is giving me employment. So yeah, essentially just so I did that. I did a Kickstarter route. It got figured out in the end. I was meant to start in March. I ended up actually starting in like near end of April, which I was like, so that's when the whole Universal Credit not giving me money was a bit of a kick in the teeth, because I found out that my brother was using my national insurance number. He wasn't, but like they had been next to me. So I'd say from February 2022 to like May 2022 was probably like the worst couple of months, because it was so like taxes. My taxes were being, someone had messed up my tax. Like, jobs weren't starting, and like, do you know what I mean? Just so much. It was bad, but then it was reflective. I learned so much in them months about everything. So much happened in them. But
can be tax accountant.
yeah, I learned how to. I was literally like doing tax, like tracing up my tax. I was learning how to like, negotiate. I was like, I didn't realize I had this like energy about me to like try and, pardon me, like to get to like, it was so much. I was doing so much in them couple of months that I was drained. I was like, oh my God. So when I started this job, I was like, I was so happy. It was in the end, it was one of my like first proper performances.
So was
And
it
we
like performing in theater?
yeah, so essentially what happened was it was a 6-month role, but 5 months for me basically. Um, essentially you devise, create, write theatre. We had a couple of facilitators come in from different theatres, organisations, and they would come in, different people from backgrounds, they would like come in, teach us dance, teach us movement, teach us like so many different things. And then in the end, by the 6 month by the end of the month, by the end of it, we would perform in a theatre, and we performed in 2 theatres. We performed in Camden People's Theatre. So I
Mhm.
performed in Camden People's Theatre and for Camden Fringe, and I performed in New Diorama Theatre for Camden Fringe, and it was a it was an interesting stint, you know. It
Was it
was
good performance?
yeah, I like to think it was. I mean, obviously, if I knew you, you would have come. You could have seen it, but it was interesting because we had I think it was like a whole week of performing, and it was tough. Can't lie, that week it was very tough because someone who's gone. There were people. The beauty of that is that there were people who had never performed, then there were people that had performed, and it was good to get that interesting mix of people. And I think I was with a diverse group of people, and I still up to this day talk to those people, and they are hilarious. I still see some of them; they're funny people, and I just love it. I just love that environment. I just think it was such a healthy, good environment, as opposed to I think film that doesn't really have necessarily that. So
Mhm.
I just all the workshops we did, all the games we played, all the knowledge that we learned, it was really interesting to see. And performing, then it led me to do other things as well. So not only did I didn't just perform there, I performed in other places as well. Just
So
kind of like
did it help you to realize that's something you wanted to do more?
yeah, do you know what I mean? Because I always thought to myself, oh, I can barely remember my name, let alone lines. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? Like, it was good to sort of, you know, get up there in front of like family and like friends and like perform, and then be like, oh, it was good. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even then, it's good to improve that and to see yourself doing just creating stories. And I wrote the script, and like not just me, but like the group I was with, we created it. But like
Yes,
we had
yes.
time to like create, write, and I didn't realize that I like writing. Like when I put my mind to it, can
Mm.
actually make something decent, somewhat decent at least. And it was a good show. It was a good thing. I definitely would love to do a piece with those people again. I think it'd be hilarious to just get in a room with them and do that. And shortly after that followed, that kind of opened me to wanting to do drag,
Mm.
because I also love drag. Although I've never watched a full episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, but I love drag. I love the drag scene, and I just was like, yeah, let's do that. So I applied for Soho Theatre's drag lab, and I got in, and I did
Mm.
it, and I performed at Soho Theatre. Um,
Is it?
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I know the theater is like a big one in Soho or a big one in London.
yeah. No, so it's like it's in Soho, like near. Couldn't tell you where actually. I don't know the street. It's just in Soho. It's a it's a good theatre, like renowned theatre. Like people know it. It's a decent theatre, and they do like a lot of like queer LGBT nights, and like a lot of like shows as well. Really good to like. They put on quite a lot. They don't just do drag labs as well. They don't just do drag shows. They do drag shows, but they also put on like comedy sketch nights, writing, like, do you know what I mean? Group comedy
Y-
sketch labs, and like
Yeah.
so it's not just drag, it's comedy. It's like they have a lot, and if you're interested in putting yourself forward for that, like 100% will check their website out and put, you know,
Hmm.
however you identify. And I don't think it makes a difference. People perform, and it's also an inclusive space. And they actually, what they do is, if you're, you know, no, if you don't, like, if you're not working or anything, or you're like, you're on universal credit, you can actually, or if you've got a job that's not like a not like 9 to 5, or you make over a certain amount, they can happily accommodate to maybe say you can pay certain amounts. You have to pay for the
Yeah.
courses, but I think it's worth it, 100%.
So is it where you are still working now?
Yeah, so at the moment I work at the Old Vic Theatre.
Oh, okay.
That's my bread and butter. So that's like what brings in, that's what pays the bills, and
So
but then
that's
I
great
do other things.
that you are still work as a performer, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't perform in the Old Vic. I wish. Just a nice little front of house. Just do some front of
Okay,
house. So
okay.
that's
I
yeah.
don't know. I will have to check it out as well. So
Yeah, you should watch it. The new show is just for one day. You should come watch it, or you should come watch it for a Christmas Carol as well. When they have Christmas Carol next year at the end of the year, they have really. I think their Christmas Carol is really good. I just watched it actually. It was really really fun. But yeah,
So-
no, they definitely do a lot of They put on a lot of shows, and they try to I think they're inclusive theatre, so they try to
Mhm.
keep make everyone.
And
Yeah.
do you still do then performing outside of your regular job or in your free time?
Yeah, I mean, I try. I try to go to like workshops and stuff. Again, like film, it's also relatively hard to find acting, especially if you don't have like a spotlight. So things like spotlight or like like, do you know what I mean? But I think with determination and perseverance, I want to try to build that and try to get more gigs from that. I think
Mhm.
doing more like just checking things out. I think as well with me, because I've had like be quite open on this. And I had the things like depression and stuff. I find it hard sometimes to really put my mind to think certain things, and like really push myself forward. And like there'll be days where I'll just be like in bed, like like rotting. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
I don't know whether you know because I don't think I'm good enough for certain things, whatever. And I get inside my head quite a lot. Um, but it's like I'm trying to be more motivated about it now. I do go to therapy and stuff and try to be more like open with that and try to be like push myself forward. But it's every day at a time now. So yeah, I'm just trying to not stay too complacent, being like, oh, because I've got this job now, I don't have to worry about
Mhm.
finding any acting gigs and stuff. Because ultimately, I do want to perform. I do want to showcase myself and really push myself forward. But I see how that can be, is very difficult, especially if you don't have. But I think like help working in the theatre does help. Seeing it and
Yeah.
motivating me to one day. We had the Christmas Carol, and there was a woman that performed. She was so amazing. Her name's Gemma. I only threw that name in because I feel like she's she is amazing. And she was the Ghost of Christmas present, and she just motivated me because I was, I'm someone I've not had training in acting or anything, but she hasn't either, and she
Mhm.
expressed that. She's probably done courses and stuff, and what I'm saying is that you don't need to do all these courses and drama school, this and that, a third. If she's able to do that, and she was there and she performed brilliantly, do you know what I mean? Then there's nothing stopping me from being at
Mm.
that level,
Yeah.
and especially with like, I think mentioning as well, I want to mention like being a black person in the creative industry is very, very, very. I don't know if you've spoken to a lot of black people in the creative industry, but it's almost as if it's impossible nearly to even get roles in there because it's just
Do you
the
still
industry is
feel like
so.
it's a barrier in the industry?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
110% a barrier. Like, do you know what I mean? I think it's definitely like way more difficult to find a job as a black person in period in any job, I think. And it's like, do you know what I mean? Because I just think it's like certain people have certain images of what they want their team to look like, and you don't fit that image, unfortunately. And growing up, already, my voice, people telling me that, oh yeah, my voice sounded white, and like, things like that. And I grew up having to think like that, so that's also been another barrier for me as well. So having seen that representation and really seeing that kind of like, visual sort of like motivation for me really puts me like, takes me out of that and being like, you know what, actually
Yeah.
I can do this. Need to put myself more, need to go to more courses, need to go to more classes, and just, do you know what I mean, just push myself, just it's all about pushing yourself. I do think race definitely does put a barrier,
But is it getting
but we're
better
not.
at least?
I like to think like, yeah, I do like to think definitely like as time has gone on, things have gotten better now, but I still do feel some certain undertones, some
Mm.
like, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, do you know what I mean? People have, and I don't know, it's just, I just feel it sometimes. And I think I speak for many that kind of are in the position, do you know what I mean? It's like, that if they have someone that's in a role that they hadn't envisioned for, maybe you come in and it's like, yeah, no, definitely didn't fit the role. And maybe you don't, fair enough, but I like to know it's because of my performance or because of who I like, do you know what I mean? Because of like my talent, that wasn't because that it didn't fit the role, as opposed to it just being like, yeah, you didn't look the part, so therefore, like, do you know what I mean? We
Yeah.
had envisioned a white blonde man as opposed to a black curly haired, guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the race definitely does. I actually wish I mentioned it. I wanted to. It's already an hour nearly. It was like, but I wanted to mention more about like being black and being. I think being black, neurodiverse, and like being in the LGBT community really played a big part in my career in film and and like acting as well. I think that's a big, like, because yeah, kind
But
of
I
adds in.
feel like that at least London is the place where this is more more welcomed or more, how to say it, embraced than maybe in other parts of the world, or that's not correct.
I mean, I definitely think like London is trying to
Mm.
get there, but is it all the way there? I mean, yeah. I mean, again, we definitely have like a lot more conversations about it, about diversity and inclusion, but it really is all about whether or not the company's actually taking the initiative to do things
Mm.
about it. I think it only happens when it's like bad things have happened, when something racist has happened, or when
Yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah.
when there things have had to have happened for them to be an intervention. But to get people in and to try and make sure that when I go to a job, there's people that look like me in that job, as opposed to just seeing a sea of white. Do you know what I mean? I
Mhm.
definitely, like, for the past jobs that I was doing when I was in the film stuff, I never really saw many black people in that job, and that was
Mhm.
quite sad to see, because it was like I felt like I was almost like, do you know what I mean? And having people trying to be like, "Oh, your hair looks nice. Can I touch it?" And I'm like, "No, you can't." Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not a dog.
Do
Like,
people say that actually?
oh my god! Even up to this day, I mean, outside of work, like I was out one night, even a couple of weeks ago, some girl was like coming up to this, like, she was a white girl, and she came up to my friend's hair. She's like, "Oh my god, I really love your hair. Can I touch your hair?" I said no, and the girl said, "No, you can't. Sorry." And she's like, "Oh please," she's like almost begging the girl, and it's like, it still happens. And then she comes turns to me, and she's like, "Can I touch yours?" I went, "No, I'm like,
Oh
we're
my
not
god.
dogs." And it's like, so even so, like, things like that still happen up to this day, and it's like, and then when you try to tell them like, "No, you're not being racist," but if we say it, then it's like we sound aggressive. We
Yeah.
sound like we're trying to be rude, but it's like, no, like, really,
And
we're
it
trying
must
to
be
talk.
annoying if that happens more frequently too, obviously.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's not even just that, but like things like that happening, and just like people just crossing boundaries, and it's just like, yeah, no, it's not
Mm.
okay. I think it definitely talked more about in the film and performing industry than it is then, and I think it has gotten a little bit better, but is it completely, it has, are there definitely changes that need to be made? Are there things that need to be done to try to better and work,
Mhm.
more to getting people in? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. There are more conversations that need to be had. I think there are more conversations that are, I think, but I also think as well that you also need to get more people of color into positions where they can write and, produce, and get them so that they
Yeah,
can
like in
bring people of
film
color.
or in general, not just in front of
Yeah,
camera, but behind the camera as well.
exactly. I know as well. So that's kind of like why I've never stepped up too far away from it, because if I can be in a position where I can bring and open more of a door for people who are of color and people from different backgrounds to do that, that's why I'm like not going to say no. I'm not doing it all in total. Like, I'd love to produce a film and
Yeah.
bring and make a film on you know essentially bringing community, then that's why like I can never say I'm fully out of it, because it's like, why did I do that? No, I need to be able to open that door for people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It's difficult topic, but
It is as well. It is difficult because obviously it's such a sensitive topic, and obviously there are so many like different aspects to it that that we couldn't in an hour just cover. Do you know what I mean? Obviously it's so much to talk about, but it's just interesting to see like how just obviously how I've navigated. I mean, obviously I'd love to you know check in and see where, obviously a lot of other people. I mean, sorry, I think I'm rambling a little bit. Long story short, it is difficult, but you can either sit there and sort of let it get to you and be like, oh, I'm not going to do anything now because I know I'm at an odds already, or you can kind of make that decision to push yourself and really say, you know what, I'm going to do this regardless of what's against me. My mum and dad always told me to, you've
I
always got to
think
work
that's
what's
the right
harder.
approach. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to go with this victimhood mentality. It doesn't end well in the end. But what's the point? You're gonna build resentment to yourself anyway if you're just gonna look like you, and it's like, do you know what I mean? And there's also and the thing is, we live in London, but London isn't the only place. So it's about doing research, exploring that. I mean, there are other film industries that are also open as well. But however, I don't know if they're on the same level, because I think out of everyone, London has become more progressive with opening themselves in terms of, when it comes to things like race, LGBT, like, do you know what I mean, neurodiverse. A lot of other industries or countries don't necessarily have that knowledge and like have that openness as well. I can't say, I can only speak for London, so.
Yeah, let's hope that a lot of people will listen to this episode and learn something or try to make a difference.
I feel like I have a lot more to say, but it's like, we've had that really an hour. I don't know, it's so crazy, but that hopefully people listening to this episode, they get a chance to understand who I am and like, really just, it has been amazing to sort of speak. It's been
yes.
I don't know why I feel really tired now. It's
So
like a workout.
what are your plans for the future? Or where do you want to see yourself in a few years, maybe?
I think, this feels like an interview.
No, it's to motivate you, so that you
you know
feel like you
what?
need to live up to it.
Yeah, I think I want to really work on work on confidence. I think for me, the past couple of years, I think my confidence has dipped a little bit, despite me still talking and doing whatever. I want to really enhance my confidence and really develop myself. I want to push. I would like to. I don't want to say like I want to be an actor. I want to engage in projects that like I want to engage in like opportunities that can really further my performing art skills and really push myself. I would like to get fitter, go to the gym more. Like, I mean, I really want to build health. I'm really
New
incorporate
Year
health.
resolutions.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is like such a good time, January. It's just now you've got the whole year to really develop it. But I want to enhance my health, enhance healthy eating, and really just push myself to really feel healthier this year. I want to develop my writing skills and reading skills as well. I'd like to read a lot more books and really push myself to go do the scary jobs, contact the scary directors and writers and producers, and
Step out
maybe
of
give
your
myself like
comfort zone.
stepping out of that comfort zone and really diving head first, being like, maybe give myself a day or two where I just message all those directors and they say, and then I just
Spam
turn off the
everyone.
laptop and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. What you got to do, you got to be like, all right, give myself one day. Speaking to my therapist, he said, what you should do is give yourself 2 days of just, or like maybe give yourself like maybe a week or something where you just, or like maybe one day where you like message directors, messaging casting directors, this and that third, and messaging them saying like I'm interested in the project, this and that third, and then just And I was thinking if I do that and I just turn off the laptop or turn off my phone and just pretend I'm not, and pretend I never messaged them or anything, and then come back to it in like a day or two, like give it a day or something, and then see what they say or something. If they don't respond, they don't respond. But if they do respond, then you like But like I think sometimes I get that fear and like the anxiety, and that's kind of developed over the years. So really, just wanting to work with that and just
I understand. I feel like that's something we all struggle with sometimes.
it's hard. Like, do you know what it is? It's not. I don't think a lot of people talk about mental health within the industry, and it really is. It can be quite a lot, especially if you're not. If you don't. If you're not someone, especially I don't know. It's a hard topic if you're not. If you're not someone that's like quite to speak about feelings quite a lot, and like I'm someone I have to let how I know how I feel out. Otherwise, if I let it, because I did that before, I bottled things up, and then I just exploded. So and then it leads to breakdowns, it leads to mental health crises, and I definitely I'm versed in that. So I don't want to put myself in that position again. So really, this year is really about checking in and maybe seeing those qualities about myself and being like, actually, I want to develop those things. I want to write a play or write a short film, like do you know what I mean? I really want to develop myself, and I'm someone that I'm very also like a people pleaser as well. So I find it very hard to like say no to like a night out if someone's going out, but I'm like, oh, I could use this time to write a play. I could use this time. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? But especially if you're working as well. If you start work, it's like immensely harder to like find time for yourself because you're like, oh, but I got a day off. I'm like, also, but like, if I can get overtime, I can do it, or I can work. Like, I'm being so candid right now.
You need to
but
start saying no more.
Yes. Saying no more to just no to those things and yes to those things. But it's easier. It is easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone can agree.
I mean, I can agree. And before we finish, where can people follow you? Where can people see your work, or if you want people to follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram, I think my Instagram is more of like where I put, most of my stuff, and then there's a link tree to things. If you want to see old YouTube videos, to like me reacting to stupid stuff. I mean, my YouTube is like a graveyard. Like, there's nothing on it. Like really, truly, that. Like, I mean, it's all like holiday videos that, like, oh god, they're so cringe. But I still have them because they were part of my life. But
We'll have a look.
if you want to follow me on Instagram at, I think it's MXWADU. But I think if you put and I'm on Facebook. So that's like a lot of that. I have a YouTube channel, but that's also, you can easily click. There's a link in my bio, and if you want to check out other profiles like Twitters and stuff. And I have that, but I also have like a personal Instagram, which I think is Michael WADU. But I'm easy accessible, and like, I just want to try to be more like, more for people who want to. I think there's not a lot of people as well in the industry that are neurodivergent. So if there's people that are feeling like, that they want to like, that contact me in terms of like, if they've got like, want to discuss mental health, or even just neurodivergent, queer, or like person of color, or like even anyone can speak to me. But I'm an open book.
And if people have any acting or performing offers, send them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, send them away. Like, I'm never gonna say no to a role. I'll even audition. Like, I'm not there, but like, if you've got any jobs for me, please let me know. I'd love to apply. Why not? It's always good to, if you're seeing this episode right now, I'm happy to
always
to see what.
Yeah. So then, Michael, before we finish, is there something that you'd like to share, or something I forgot to ask you, and you feel like you want to say, or anything?
Yeah. I think it's just important to say that, I think it's we live in a time right now where it's easy to compare. It's easy to, and I saw his quote. Comparison is
Isn't
the
it comparison is teeth of joy?
comparison is the thief of joy, and I
Actually, I had
think
it on my mind as well. I like the quote. I think it's
yeah,
maybe from Mark Twain or someone.
yeah, and I think that really hit me because it's like that was a lot of the thing. I think seeing people's, I think when we live in such a age where Instagram, Snapchat, like everything is so like people's highlight reels, this and that, third. But one thing one thing that's important is that like you got to understand that you are living this life for you, and this is me speaking to me as well. Like that it is hard, like when you see those things and see people, and even some people that like have who are younger than you. Maybe I'm 26 and I'm seeing people that are like 20, like 21, 22, 18, 19, going to these like you know what I mean, doing these like projects and stuff, and it's easy for me to be like, oh yeah, but like actually relishing in their joy, going to their shows, seeing it, that might actually end up in motivating to be like, I can do this then, because if they're doing it and I can do it,
Hmm.
and seeing, so like really relishing in that and really trying to really enjoy, like just taking yourself and really checking in when you feel those feelings, when you feel that jealousy, when you feel that comparison, really acknowledge it. You're a human being, you're allowed to feel those feelings, but don't let them stick around to the point where you may be held under animosity or angst to them.
Yeah,
I 100% know in my life I've definitely felt those things, and people have felt it, and
and
it
especially
hasn't.
you have no idea what's their background like, so it's just
Exactly,
going to hurt you if you compare to random people you don't
exactly.
know
You
anything about.
never know what people did to get to that point, so just always like always just be just be joyous in what they're doing, because you know what, when it happens for you, I guarantee they're going to be the same. They're going to be joyful. They're going to be like, wow. Because when I performed at Camden People's Theatre and people saw me at Soho Theatre, they were like, friends seeing me in that element. They could see I was happy. They would see I was like, they're proud. And like, even my friend who I've known since I was 14, she was like so proud of me. She was like, do you know what I mean? Like just seeing that and being like, just seeing me in my element, and people even outside of that seeing me, I was like, it's good to see, you can learn and you can ask questions as well. And if people are friends, they'll tell you like, I liked your performance. I didn't like this on this, that, fair. Then I'm always open. Like I'm not going to sit there and
Yeah, of course.
not take
And
constructive criticism.
mhm.
But yeah, other merits, I think I want to leave it with basically just try to work along, work to to understanding yourself better and acknowledging that you are human. This is also like this is going to be an overnight thing for me. Also, like as well as things don't happen overnight, you have to put in the work. As much work as you put in is as much effort and results you will get out. So if you put in a lot of work and you put in a lot of time for things, you will hopefully ultimately get those opportunities. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
stay
great.
positive. Just sorry, I was just saying, stay positive. Just try to be positive. Try to be happy. Try to be happy. That's so generous. So try to try to stay push yourself, push positivity into your life, and I try to do
Mhm.
that as much as possible, and just be positive to people, even if we're not on best terms, whatever. It's no, and I never try to leave on too much of a bad note.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a great point to finish with.
Right.
So thank you very much, Michael. It was great to get to know you, and I hope
Yeah.
you become a big successful performer.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, I don't, I just want to create. I just want to be in a realm where I'm creating, and
Mm,
that would be the dream. Constantly creating and doing things that really put me, really give me the chance to create and perform. So I'm not even,
yeah.
if it. I don't want to be like this superstar, but I'm not going to say no if I become a superstar. But it's like, no, yeah. Yeah,
No,
and I hope the same.
I mean it like fingers crossed that it works out and you do what you like and enjoy.
Yeah, I'd love to do like a little stint at like like in musical theatre or something, like do like the Lion King or something. That'd be beautiful. Like just change things. I would love to do like just things like that. And I hope the best for you, honestly. I hope we could do another podcast maybe a year from now and see where we go, where we're at
Yeah,
then.
of course. We'll do a little catch up.
Yeah, it would be amazing to see where we're all at. Maybe, I don't know, I might even get into podcasts. I might ask you questions. See where you're at with the podcast. But I hope this really helped. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I really feel appreciated, despite me being just all over the place. This is what it's like.
I enjoyed it, and I think we touched some important topics as we discussed, and you also shared some good advice that can help some people. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And thank you. Really, I think thank you for offering that platform to really speak about those things, because I think a lot of the times it's never really spoken about as much, and I really hope that I got to. I don't think I've covered it as much as I wanted to, but hopefully
that's why we can do part 2 in the future in some time.
Yeah, there you go. See, you already laying the foundation. Yeah. Thank you so much, Thomas, for this opportunity. I hope that we can do this again, and hopefully can't wait to see how this plays out.
Yeah, so thank you, Michael, and I will stay in touch.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app, get in touch to provide your feedback, or share any ideas for future guests. Thank you, and see you soon.